Welcome to Walking with J.Beau, an almost daily walking vlog on this November 6th. A very windy, chilly one. I am bundled up. Welcome to winter. Anyways, my friends, we got a few things to talk about today that are important. Perspective. People need to keep an even keel and keep perspective. Different factors contributed to the Democrats' wins in the election this week. The main one being, and this is very important, is that they were elections in blue states. They were probably going to win those anyway, or they were going to be close. It turned out they were not close, and we lost. And in Mississippi, the state legislature, Mississippi is very red. Republicans lost seats in the state house. And a lot of it has to do with President Trump's radical agenda. It's motivated the Democrat voters to show up and vote. And unfortunately, we can't say the same thing about Republican voters and an off-year election. Republican voters just don't show up and vote. It's not to say we would have won if they had, but it would have been a better race. Mamdani was going to win in New York anyway, basically is what I'm saying. Virginia, throughout its entire history, usually flips to the other party opposite of what's in the White House. So that wasn't a big shocker. And we had a shot at New Jersey. I'm more concerned about the down ticket ballots voting. We didn't do well on those. A lot of it has to do with Trump's agenda. Shell-shocked, whatever you want to call it. The one big beautiful bill hasn't gone into effect yet. So prices on a lot of things are still not down. They're lower. Lower does not mean low. Gas prices were doing well, and now they're leveling off again, and I don't know why that's happening, because the price of crude oil is pretty low. So it has to be a supply issue or a demand issue. Refining, maybe. Whatever the case is, next year at this time it's not going to be an issue. That I do know. So now, what did the Democrats really win? Socialism won big wins for socialism. All the people that ran that won big were socialists. Virginia even elected a guy threatening to kill Republicans and his family and their children, right? Killing them right in front of their families. The guy that ran for Attorney General and won, J. Jones in Virginia, because their voters showed up and voted for him. And the entire mentality out of all of these elections was, gotta get Trump. We gotta stick it to Trump. They didn't even care who they were voting for. And that's scary, because we know that's not gonna go away. At least for a little while. That's why these Democrats have all been running on Trump, Trump, Trumpity, Trump, Trump. Apparently it works for them. I don't see the logic in it, because you and I look at it like, really? So anyway, Democrats, though, they didn't win Wednesday night. They got desperately needed wins for their psyches. But what did they win? I mean, Marxism, communism, socialism. Chuck Schumer is doing this shutdown right now, which is day 37, by the way. He's doing this because he doesn't want to lose his seat. The younger voters are pissed at him because he didn't fight earlier in the year against Trump. And the truth of the matter is, this is the first time in our history that a simple CR is used to shut the government down. So we're doing a lot of new norms, breaking a lot of norms with new radical agenda stuff. So I'm definitely siding with getting rid of the filibuster, even though I really don't want to. I feel like we have to, and that's unfortunate. And we have to for the same reason that somebody has a gun and they're pointing it at you. You're not going to sit there and say, well, are they going to pull the trigger or aren't they? Let's see what they do. You're going to pull your gun and do it first. So that's really the problem. I feel like getting rid of the filibuster would be a self-defense move to avoid the inevitable that's going to happen. Democrats have already tried to get rid of the filibuster, and they had 2 holdouts. And they couldn't do it. They didn't have the votes. Well, when they get in power again, what if they have the votes? They will do it because they tried to do it already. And that's the thing for me. They already tried to do it, which means they will do it again. Do we do it first? That's really the whole thing. Because the argument is, if we do it first, the Democrats are going to go crazy with it. But if we don't do it, the Democrats are going to do it anyway, in my opinion. So it's a tough call. Because once you do it, there's no way to prove the Democrats were going to do it. But they tried to do it already. So, and they're even more radical now than they were just 3 years ago during Biden, 4 years ago. Kamala Harris wanted to get rid of it. Chuck Schumer wanted to get rid of it. They put everything in motion to get rid of it. Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin said they wouldn't do it. And if they tried to, they would leave the party. Democratic Party came down hard on them for that because they did the right thing. Both of them resigned. They left the Democratic Party and decided not to run again. So when you look at the big picture like that, it's obvious the Democrats are going to do it. First chance they get. And Trump is right on that. And I really resisted that. But if we didn't have the aforementioned info I just talked about, I would definitely be against it. So it's complicated, right? Now I want to talk about something important. Two issues here in Maine having to do with Democrats. One having to do with Maine, but more having to do with the Republican Congress 2026. As you know, I've talked about him often. Jared Golden, Blue Dog moderate Democrat in this district, which this is a red district in Maine. He's won 3 elections. He's been a congressman for 6 years. He won by less than 1% last year. Yeah. He had to sell his soul to George Soros, the Soros Foundation, Open Society, whatever you want to call it. And then he had to turn his stance on firearms, which he voted against all gun legislation. Up until he was fundraising and he needed money, and Soros came along and gave him like $1 million. Congressmen have to fundraise for their party, at least $1 million a year. So he took the money. 2 weeks after he took it, he announced he was going to be voting in favor of gun control now. Specifically, he was going to ban AR-15s and semi-automatic rifles. Then he got a lot of blowback, and he walked it back and said that perhaps we should just have a government tax stamp, a registry, where you have to have a tax stamp and get permission from the government to own something you can use freely now. It's been downhill for him since he did that. So he has announced he's not running. 3-time incumbent in a tough red district that Trump won here by 10 points. So Trump won this district by 10 points, even though Kamala Harris won the entire state by 9. This district gave Trump an electoral college vote and a congressman. Now the guy, the main guy that was going to be running against Jared Golden was 2-time Governor Paul LePage, a very Trumpian person, very similar. He got into hot water with the media before Trump even came down the escalator. And he ran against Janet Mills, and he didn't win. In fact, he didn't even come close. Because you can't run consecutive terms, but you can run 2 consecutive. Somebody else is governor, and then you can run again. And he didn't win. So polling right now, he's ahead of Jared Golden, but Jared Golden just dropped out. So this is a tough one for Democrats because for two reasons. One, the reason Jared Golden dropped out, and number two, it's a tough district for Democrats to win in. And they're not gonna win, I guess is what I'm saying. So now that Jared Golden has dropped out, this district is going to be red again. So we're going to add a congressman in DC next year. So, yes, I'm that confident. The other thing is the reason Jared Golden dropped out. He could have just dropped out. He could have just said, all right, well, I'm going to spend time with my family. This is taking up a lot of my time and this and that. He could have just said that, because he did say that. But he added something onto it. It isn't worth it anymore because I have to deal with a party that is out of touch. In other words, the Democratic Party left him. They are so far left that his own morals and scruples will not allow him to run as a Democrat, and he knows he won't win as a Republican. So he's quitting politics. He's had enough. So whatever victory the Democrats try to claim, winning deep blue states that we're going to win anyway, the establishment, moderate Democrats, and there's a lot of them left, are not happy with their party, and they're having a civil war. Nancy Pelosi announced her retirement yesterday or today, recently. So the old guard's on their way out, and the young ones are taking over. AOC, mark my words, I said it 2 months ago, 3 months ago, AOC is going to primary Chuck Schumer, and she will be a senator. And she'll win easily. Won't even be close. Janet Mills in Maine, typically she would be the person to beat, but for the same reasons that the party has gone lefty lunatic, she's already 30 points behind Graham Plattner, a self-professed communist. So writing's on the wall for these old establishment moderates, and Janet Mills isn't a moderate. So let me put it this way. Janet Mills has the full media, full support of the Democratic Party, financially and otherwise, yet Graham Plattner, with a grassroots internet campaign, just bested her 30 points. Not 3, not 4, 30 points. That is big. He got 58% of the vote among Democrats who are going to vote. So he's got a lot of support. See the sign across the street? That's a Graham Plattner sign. I don't see any January signs. So anyway, the red flag law passed because of radicals, and they came out and voted. Republicans didn't show up and vote. Yes on one. Failed. No voter ID for Maine because of outside special interest groups spending big money on advertising, convincing people that it was going to ruin their absentee ballots and take away absentee voting, when that's not what they did. So, ironically, part of the voter ID bill right there, yes on one, question one, was to eliminate outside groups from infiltrating our elections with money. So of course the outside groups poured a lot of money into it. And that's why I said they should have just had a voter ID bill, just a clean one item bill, and it would have passed. So and you can see all these poles here with the red flags, orange flags. That's for the people that plow the snow. That's why they have them on the mailbox there. That's just to let them know where the edge of the road is, because there's no sidewalks. And when it's all covered in snow, it looks like they can plow there. So that's a good idea. So, I like how Jared Golding left a parting shot at the Democrats. He could have just stepped out and, I just want to spend time with family. Come on, Jared, what's the real reason? No, that's the reason, really. I've been doing this for 6 years now, blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't do that. He said, yeah, I'm going to spend time with family. And oh, by the way, the Democratic Party sucks now. They're so far left, they've lost the plot. So, the Democratic Party and the media is gloating over their victories this week. And they're going to be short-lived. The Republicans are going to have to fight for these seats. Just being endorsed by Donald Trump is not going to get you over the hump. That's what we learned from this election. And we'll fix it. We'll be fine. The Democrats will still be communist, Marxist. And you know what's going to happen? The very first time a black person in New York City is shot by a police officer, and if that police officer is white, that's it. We have another George Floyd riot in New York City. They're just itching. They're waiting. Trump is president. If Biden was president, no, you wouldn't see that. But Trump is president, there will be organized neo-Marxist protests. This is their time. They're going to seize the opportunities. Just the way it is, my friends. We're going to have to stay vigilant. Being on the right side of things is always the best policy. But we got to fight, and we can't be weak. despite the coolness of it. So that's pretty awesome. I know we lost, but there's a silver lining, a definite one. I'm going to miss walking this route when the snow flies. I will. I'll be very much looking forward to spring. We got another day of high winds today. Seems to be dying down. like winter. On this date, I think it's only 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we had like 6 inches of snow. That usually does not happen in the first week of November, but it has in the past. Oh, look at the little Mini Cooper. That old 1932 hot rod, it looked like. Ford Roadster. Pink. Yeah, so I want to be clear, because it sounds like I get wishy-washy on topics. I do not support getting rid of the filibuster, just like I don't support randomly popping people with your pistol. But when a filibuster is pointed at you, you have to use your powers you have to save yourself from it. Even if it means doing something terrible. If you follow. I'm absolutely convinced Democrats are going to get rid of the filibuster as soon as they have the Senate. It's a guarantee. They're going to add electoral college votes by adding 2 states. They're going to add 4 senators. Good luck winning the Senate after that. Republicans will never run the Senate again, ever. And I know that's a big statement, but even when they win big, they only win by 2 or 3 seats. So Republicans will have their great victorious 53, 54 seats, and Democrats are going to have 60. We're close to it. They'll be able to do whatever the hell they want, whenever they want, with a simple 50 vote. There won't be enough Democrats to stop their own party. And you'll see, like you do in New York State, you'll have the token Democrats once in a while not siding with their party, just to say that they have partisanship or they're bipartisan. It's a game they've played for a long time. I don't want that for the Senate. Now, yeah, you get rid of the filibuster, that means it's gone. It's not going to come back because it's not a constitutional amendment. It's not mandated. It's a gentleman's agreement. It's a handshake. And the fucking Democrats right now don't give a flying fuck about that shit. They just don't. They tried to get rid of it already. And Schumer is going to be gone. Let that sink in. Schumer is going to be gone, and AOC is going to be a senator. Who's going to replace Chuck Schumer as majority leader if the Senate wins, if the Democrats win the Senate majority, which they won't? Who would be the majority leader? it's not going to be AOC. That has to be voted on by Democrats. And there's still some old timers left. They're not going to like AOC and this new brand. They want to keep their old brand. But, oh, I gotta cross the street. These are the dogs that came out at me before. So, we just saw in New York, Mamdani wiped the floor with the old establishment Democrat, Cuomo. Kamala Harris lost. She's an establishment. Cory Booker is an establishment Democrat. They don't have any leadership right now. It's opening the door for these people. And they're taking the opportunity. You know, kudos to the communists. They're seizing an opportunity over an old, impotent Democratic Party that don't know whether to shit or wind their watch. So Chuck Schumer's done. Writing's on the wall for that. He thinks this shutdown, I showed Donald Trump who's boss. See, I can fight. Guarantee you, Chuck, the young people don't give a fuck. You've done too much, you've done too little, you've said too much, and you've said too little. They know what book you are. You're finished. So this will be interesting to watch because they're having a civil war in their own party. And they're not going to discuss too much publicly. But I guarantee you, behind closed doors, they're losing their shit. This is all, in the long run, going to be good for Republicans. I stick by that. Because they're too radical. They're too far left. You know, they'll win in Hawaii, they'll win in Oregon, they'll win in Washington, Colorado, New York, New Jersey. But they're not going to win in other places with that. So if you live in any of those states, it's going to get worse for you, actually. It's going to get worse. There have been bills in California so crazy Gavin Newsom wouldn't even sign them. He vetoed them. Janet Mills in Maine has done the same thing. So my state may get worse. Or a lot of people here will do like the last election and realize the Democrats need to be held in check and they'll lose seats like they did last time. I won't find that out till next year. And unfortunately with Maine, they do not have regular polling continuously all the time. You'll have a poll once every 6 months, and by the time that poll comes out, between then and the next poll, you know, political winds could change. So there's no polls to reflect current sentiment on anything. That's why the poll on Graham Plattner being ahead of Janet Mills is important because the Nazi tattoo news had come out before the polling was done. So voters don't care. They don't care. They don't care if they're Nazis. They don't care if they say they want to kill Republicans and their children, like the idiot in Virginia did, and he got elected anyway. That's frightening. These people don't care. Scary stuff, my friends. Hang in there. We'll be okay. There is a bright side to all of this. Oh. Pretty nice out here today, I think. Not too bad. To loosen my belt. I had it too tight because of my EDC. Well, all we can do is make sure we vote, get people to vote. And the important thing is to get people to vote. Whenever you have these off-year elections, boy, there'll be better turnout next year. Well, if you guys have any topics of conversation or any thoughts on anything I've said, I definitely would like to hear it. And I know not everybody's going to agree with me on the not be in favor of it. But we are not in normal times. We're dealing with radicals. And since we can't well, I won't say it. Not saying we would, I'm just saying since we can't do anything bad, we don't do anything violent, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to avoid words that would trigger the algorithm. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about I figured out a way to live stream with this. To go live. Problem I have is when the battery runs out after about an hour and 20, the battery is going to quit and the stream will end. I'll have to start a new stream. So walks will turn into 2 parts. The other problem is, and this is the biggest one, that even if I can live stream, after about 1 hour, YouTube is going to cut the video quality to about 240 to 480p. Everything will be blocky and pixelated on the live stream because YouTube does that automatically to save bandwidth, unless they are an account with a certain amount of subscribers and they're monetized. I'm not monetized, so live streaming walks for an hour and a half to 2 hours, it's not going to work, even if I can do it, which obviously I can do that. I figured out how to do it. So there's the problem. So I'm going to continue doing it this way, recording my walks, editing it together, and uploading it. But I can live stream shorter segments, which I may start doing. Have a shorter live stream, either at home, in the backyard maybe, just to see how that works, how well it works. Basically, the live stream would look the same as this does. Difference being, it would be live. So we just hit the 3-mile mark. This would be about the time that the picture quality went to crap. So YouTube could save bandwidth. They're not going to waste bandwidth on a show that's not monetized. It's not making them any money. They're not going to give that to people. And I have already experimented with that. And I have seen other live streams experience that on YouTube. But trade-off is when you live stream, you get more viewers. So see what happens. Now I got different options. I could start my walk on a live stream, talk about all the important stuff for 1 hour, and the live stream, and do the rest of my walk like this, and then upload it after, and then link the live stream at the bottom of this portion of it, the second part 2. And then on the live stream in the description, put a link for part 2. Which makes a lot more fuss and muss for me. Gotta put more effort into it. This already takes enough time every day just doing the walk and uploading. So I'll weigh the options and see what happens. But I guess what I'm saying is I could do that, but I'm not promising anything. Car coming ahead. I'll go off to the side here. It's a good road to drive speedy fast on. Looks like people are enjoying it today. Yep, winter's gonna be here soon, guys. Not feeling very talkative today. That happens sometimes. There have been walks before where I didn't really say much at all. I ended up not uploading those. Few and far in between, but it's not like I haven't said anything on this walk. I have. I'm just saying I'm not today's the day where I'll be happy when this walk's over with today. Clouds are moving fast. We've got bad weather coming. It's going to be rain. We're supposed to get quite a bit of rain tomorrow into Friday or something like that. Does look like the weather's going to be nice Saturday, so that's good. For a while it looked like it was going to be a washout this weekend, and it cleared up. It's a miracle. Jeez, my nose is running. It's chilly today. Not a fan of that, but end of my nose is cold. So a girl I used to know years and years and years ago contacted me on Facebook just to say hello, which is fine. Facebook is not something I really use a whole lot of. These days it's just a bunch of boomers, old people who end their sentences with comma, moron, or comma, idiot. Boring people. I'm not interested in conversing with you, idiot, moron. I make myself laugh. All right, we got some potentially big breaking news that's going to be coming out. Glenn Beck says this is probably the biggest scandal in his lifetime, which is saying a lot. It has to do with the J6 pipe bombs. For the longest time, people have wondered, why was there a pipe bomb left at the Republican Party headquarters in D.C., and also a pipe bomb left at the Democratic Party headquarters in D.C. 2 pipe bombs. Neither one of them blew up. The FBI had offered a very, very large reward for information leading to the identification, arrest, and conviction of the pipe bomber we see on video. They released an entire video of that person's whereabouts, the neighborhoods they walked through. They were picked up on several security cameras. They pieced together the entire route this person walked, and I'm sure somebody knew who it was. Now, they said this isn't going to be revealed yet on who this person is, but they said that a very well-known person orchestrated this. That's all they said. And it is an accredited investigative journalist that broke that info to Glenn Beck. So this is going to be big, whatever it is. They're not saying what it is yet. Probably going to wait for the government shutdown to be over so they won't lose the headlines. But I look at it like, well, if it is in fact the biggest scandal of our lifetime having to do with January 6th, I would assume it wouldn't matter what time it came out. Well, we are on a wait and see, my friends. We are going to wait and see. Just thought I'd pass that along to you, to go along with our crazy times we're having. I have commented on those pipe bombs many times. And to refresh your memory, video shows this person leaving a pipe bomb on a bench outside Democratic Party headquarters. We're sitting there all day. Somebody saw that there. They called the police and reported it, all right? And this is the important part. The police came, looked over the package, and then they just left it there. And they left. It turns out there was a pipe bomb in there. And the cop did nothing. Later that day, Kamala Harris, Vice President-elect, who was going to be sworn in later that day, her motorcade pulled in to the DNC headquarters where the pipe bomb was. Now you figure this would have been big news. Her vehicle was parked literally maybe 30, 40 feet away from the pipe bomb. Secret Service guy is sitting in the vehicle while Kamala Harris is inside DNC headquarters, obviously being explained how that was going to work today and how and where you'd be sworn in, maybe even doing a practice run, whatever they do. And that bomb was right there. A DC police car pulls up, a guy gets out, talks with the Secret Service guy, standing right there next to the bomb. Nobody does anything about it, even though somebody called and reported a suspicious package. And it's all on video. I watched it. Incredible. So I have long suspected something was goofy with that, and nothing ever really came out. So I am very excited about this, because I don't run on conspiracy theories. I run on actual evidence. I saw the video footage. There was a police call made reporting a suspicious package. A cop did come look at it, left it there, did nothing with it. It wasn't found until the next day. And it made big headlines after the J6 thing had already happened. They tied it in as domestic terrorists leave pipe bombs. And actually they first reported it, that the pipe bomb was at the DNC headquarters. They didn't really mention anything about the Republican one because they don't want to make the Republicans look like they were victims too, especially after a quote-unquote insurrection. Crazy stuff. Absolutely Looney Tunes, my friends. I think we're going to find out what it is. I'm very excited about it, actually. Starting to get dark here fast. Last light at 5:06, I believe. Or 4:56, something like that. Basically too soon. It's getting dark too soon. And I went for a walk this afternoon, even though I would have preferred waiting till later, because it would have been another night walk. Would have been windy tonight, cold. Best time to go was now. I didn't. Just hit 4 miles. I didn't mean to make the dog pinch it off early. Oops, sorry. You wanted to own a dog, you deal with it. Smell diesel. Cross over. More room to walk on the side over there. The cars will let me. So with politics, typically what happens is when the pendulum swings hard one way, it usually returns back the other way, swinging almost, if not just as hard. So be ready for anything, my friends. When you have people voting just because they hate Donald Trump, at this point, I honestly believe, Democrats would vote to behead babies in public if it meant sticking it to Donald Trump. I hate to say that, but they're that gone. There's no sanity there. See, we base all our stuff on sanity. We're like, how can these people vote for that? It doesn't even make sense. There's no way that'll pass. And then it passes. That's because we have morals, scruples, and a conscience, and they don't. So you can't explain sane things to insane people. They don't understand it. They look at you like you're the one that's crazy. Don't know what you can do with that. You really don't. Lock him up in an asylum. Guess that's about all you can do. I think we have laws against that. Ooh, truck going too fast. No headlights. Put your headlights on. It looks lighter than it is on here. It's dark enough now to have headlights on. It's the GoPro with the light amplification, aka white balance. Which coincidentally also eats more battery the harder it has to work. So basically, I almost got all of this walk in on I could have done a live stream and live streamed it all, but the last half of it would have been pixelated, blocky. But we would have would have had the motion control, it would have been level, it wouldn't have been shaken, but it would not have been palatable in my opinion. I think I'll do a live stream test at home. I won't make it available live for people to watch. I'll make it unlisted or private, just to see what I can do and what I can't do, and how well everything works. Maybe YouTube has changed how they do things, and I'll be able to stream a whole hour and a half live without a net. Wonder if I would started doing it live, I'd probably change the title to Walking with J.Beau Live Without a Net. Cliche, but fitting. The other thing I would have to check also is my phone service. I get quite a few gigabytes of internet on my phone, but I'm pretty sure my internet is not going to allow me the bandwidth to live stream every day. Find that highly doubtful. So it's probably not going to happen. There's always technical reasons that get in the way. You can save a live stream where people can watch them at their leisure later, but this is the same thing, isn't it? So it all turns out to be a moot point. Ooh, this is a steep downhill right here. Scrunches my toes up in the toe box. Not terribly, but well, the wind has definitely calmed down some. That's good. That makes me happy. So this is about the time the picture is going to start vibrating while I walk, unless I switch to night mode, which I'm not going to do. End of the walk will be coming up anyways. I might have to use the porta potty outside the pickleball court though, because I gotta go. I gots to go. Could do like all the other peasants and just wee in the bush, but there's plenty of bushes here to wee in. I don't want to end up on somebody's security camera That's always the possibility these days. That guy that walks by every day, he pissed in my bush. That's illegal. Arrest him. I'll say, I didn't pee in no bush. Try to look innocent. Well, sir, you're on video peeing in a bush. You sure it's me? Yes, sir. We're sure it's you. You're a bush peer. You friggin' bushwhackers never know when to quit, and we're gonna make an example of you. Go piss in your own bush. Car that went by smelled like gasoline. Burning rich. Something wrong. There's something wrong with it. This old guy up here with his dog. I think we've seen him before. I think that's that old guy. It's getting dark. It's hard to see. Yep, that's that old guy. He sees me coming. He's walking off to the side. The dog sees me. Look at him. He's freaking out. Who is that? Who is it? Friend or foe? Look at his little feet going. His ears are tuned. Looking at me. He's gonna launch. Hi. Nice. Pudgy little tough guy dog. Dog's coming at me like, yeah, I'll show you. You better back up, buddy. I've dealt with bigger people than you. With a whole gaggle of dogs. I cross over here for my own safety. Anyways, my friends, to make sure I'm recording. I don't have the front LCD screen on. I don't have it on. Back over. We'll go back over this way. Now that the dog danger has abated. The dogs of doom. Give them some room. Dark quick. I'm gonna head down here to go. I can't wait for the porta potty. Be right back. All right, gonna come up out of the weeds. Anyways, my friends, gotta do what you gotta do, right? So, I'm gonna finish up the walk up ahead. I don't know what else to tell you about the losses this week, except not to worry about it. There's a slight concern, but you know, all three of those big losses would have been losses anyway, in my opinion. The only one that had a chance was Virginia. New Jersey was pretty close, according to polling and how it looked, and they ended up not being so close. They really were not close. So we have work to do. Right now, until prices of things noticeably come down, and you've heard me beat this drum a million times on these walks, if prices do not come down for stuff, we're not going to win next year. Plain and simple. It's really that simple. The reason why the Republicans won midterms was because of inflation and the cost of everything. So the old saying, "It's the economy, stupid," is the absolute truth. Now the stock market looks good. People are investing in this country. They're building factories, and there's going to be a gazillion jobs. People are going to have money. There's going to be big tax breaks. Things are going to be good, but they're not right now. And I know President Trump keeps coming out saying, "Oh, the economy is great. What are you talking about? Prices have gone down." Well, and then he goes, "Well, except for beef." Well, you can add chicken on that and a bunch of other things. There are a lot of blue states that still have high prices. I don't know whose fault that is, but that's what it is. Prices have not gone down in Colorado, California, and New York, places like that. So gas prices have gone down some, but they're not low. I saw Trump yesterday, well, gas, $2 a gallon in some places. No, the $2 a gallon he's talking about is the raw price from the refinery. After it's put in the pump, it's $2.60, $2.70, $2.80, $2.90. So he's going by market prices rather than consumer prices. Presumably because it sounds better. But you and I know gas is not $2 a gallon, and even though Trump says that. Things are going to be good. Gotta wait for that one big beautiful bill to kick in. And so the problems we're having now, next year at this time we're not going to have these problems. The economy is going to be even better than it was during Trump's first term. So now the last part of this I want to talk about is tariffs. Supreme Court is supposed to rule on that today. They may have while I was walking, so I don't know what the verdict is. They're either going to say Trump's tariffs, he wasn't authorized to do that under an Emergency Powers Act. But if that's what they rule, then Trump's going to have to go back to the original unfair tariff practice. He won't be able to raise tariffs to 100%, 50%. I think the most he could do is 15%. It's not going to have the same leverage that he has now with them. And it's going to ruin his entire presidency if the Supreme Court rules against him today. I really don't see how they can circumvent. They invested so much in being able to use these tariffs. And the real irony of this is the people that filed the lawsuits just did it to stop Trump because they hate him. It doesn't even matter if it's the best thing for the country. So we're going to have to wait and see. And my porta potty over here was gone anyway, so I wouldn't have been able to use it. So I made a good choice up the road. Anyways, I'll leave that with you. I'll talk more about the tariffs after the verdict and I see how the dust settles. Hopefully they rule in his favor. It didn't sound like Gorsuch. Well, Gorsuch sounded maybe. Kavanaugh, Justice Barrett, don't know how it's going to go. I don't. But if it doesn't go Trump's way, this is going to be a very big win for Democrats. Just because they're stopping Trump, not because it's a good thing for the country. Just like they're happy about the communists winning, even though that's not good for the country either, or their party. So anyway, I'm going to sign off now. Thank you very much for walking with me. God bless you and your family. Say a prayer for Trump and the country. And we'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk about the tariffs, see what happens. See you guys then. Bye-bye. Stay safe.